My name is Abdul Huq Pompier. I was born in Holland and I've been Ahmadi now for 7 years.
And could you tell me the long story of how you became an Ahmadi Muslim?
The long version.
Yes, please.
It started when I wanted to create the perfect life in my eyes. I emigrated to Australia, and when I was there I realized that to emigrate to another country which may have a sunny sky or may have the beautiful beaches and things like that, this is not the way to happiness, because I became very unhappy there. And I think that was a moment when I started looking, not for the advertisement kind of life, but the kind of life more in the inside. And there were some interesting steps. As I was searching and as I was thinking, one time somebody advised one book to me. This was not an Islamic book, but it was a philosophical kind of book. And I arrived many months later somewhere, and I walked into a room with a bookcase in the room, and just that book that had been advised to me many months before, it just came to me in a way. I was quite far from that bookcase, but that one book that just drew my eye very much to it. So then I asked the person who owned the book to lend it to me, and I read that book, and this book made it possible for me. This book made it possible for me to believe in God, and made it also urgent for me to believe in God. And this made me very happy. And this was actually kind of a philosophical Buddhist kind of book. So what the question that remained open was, what does revelation have to do with religion? Because at that moment I could not understand revelation. And this was the moment when I met with an Ahmadi. This was an old lady who had a food shop in Rotterdam in Holland, where I was studying, and also her behavior and the behavior of her family impressed me, and so this was the start for me to start studying Islam. So I needed a lot of treatment, I suppose, because I came there every week for about 1 or 2 years, and after some time I started reading the Quran and studying Islam. And 3 years after I met with these people, I accepted Ahmadiyyat. And in the meantime, I also studied the Bible, because I wanted to, as a person educated in the West, you are educated with a way to certainty that you have to study everything before you can make a conclusion. So maybe that is also true, partially true, but so I did not really trust on what you would do as an Ahmadi, maybe more that you just pray to God and trust on the guidance, and then don't spend too much time. But I spent 3 years, and I studied a lot of things, and even I went to a university to study Arabic and Persian language, to be in an environment where I could talk to a lot of Muslim groups. So I could speak to some Shias and some Sunnis. Some of the Wahhabis were also there. There were also some converts to Islam there, and some ulama who came from Egypt, who were exiled from Egypt, actually. Some Orientalists who, their kind of writings, they were also there. So that was an environment where I could really say to myself that this is really an environment where I can make a conclusion. But in the end it was Ahmadiyyat, which I met 3 years before.
What was the most crucial thing that made you become an Ahmadi Muslim?
I think it was several things. First is the personal impression of Ahmadis. So So Ahmadis should never forget that, how big is their role in showing the people the way, in their character. And the second was of course the Quran, but also the history of Islam. So, but that is for Islam, I suppose. And then, the two major points of difference with other Muslims is Khatm al-Nabuwwat and Rafa Isa, alayhi salam. These 2 points I really studied because they were the main points of difference. And it was so clear that Ahmadiyya was right. The arguments were so good that this was the third point, deciding point.
Oh yes. What advice would you give to people studying or searching for the truth?
Focus on those points of difference. You have a lot of people who somehow are distracted into details when they are studying or comparing religions or doctrines, and this is sometimes very pitiful to see, which is probably called short-sightedness. That somebody picks a detail and spends all his time and energy on the detail, even not trying to approach it from a different angle. I always think that is very sad to see. So, what is in religion? You have main doctrines and you have smaller doctrines. For example, I know people who have rejected Ahmadiyyat because they saw Ahmadis wearing socks in the mosque. For example, such things happen, and what more? Yes, when they combine the prayers, they get terrified if you combine prayers. But then if you are on such a level, then I don't think you will ever find the truth, because you will always be stuck in your own way. And of course, you have to start from the important issues. So that is for Islam, that is unity of God. That is the first. And the second is, if you compare to Christianity, then it's very easy to compare. You have Christianity having 3 gods. So what's their argument for that? Then you have Islam having 1 God. I think that decision should be very, very clear and easy. Even, you have some people who do not trust the authenticity of the Quran or the revealed character of the Quran. Even, I think that question you don't even need to ask if the Islam has the proper idea of God. Then there is not even a question of the Quran being revealed, because then it was necessary book, for that doctrine to be established again. So then you should not be unthankful. And for Muslims searching for the truth, then you can just easily go to the main points of difference. So that's Khatm al-Nabuwwat and Rafa Isa were for me also very helpful. And then you can easily find the right.
Okay,